One of the things that I think has been fascinating to me, and the Republicans have always had this, have always had this sort of, I guess, modus operandi, right? Which is a certain amount of projection. I don't know if this is just in general a political tactic, but Republicans, they seem to really operate under this fashion. I mean, the swift boating of John Kerry. I mean, I'm just there are major examples of this. One of the things that seems to be clear in terms of what they're doing right now. I mean, we have examples the other day, these Trump guys in their pickup trucks and their flags, and all the pickup trucks too are sort of like, they're not, you get the sense a lot of those pickup trucks, they're not necessarily the kind that you actually do a lot of work with. They're the sweet, like $45,000 F-150s that have got like the running boards and the sweet leather interior. And it's more like, they're not necessarily like, pickup trucks that you're really worried about doing too much work in.
Yeah, they're suspiciously clean.
They're just really, like, Matt, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, there's
yeah. I mean, I like the guys who got like the vertical exhaust coming up the middle, like, because they got such a big engine, they need to exhaust that thing.
Right. Like I've known guys who get that, like that Ford Raptor. It's like a $50,000 pickup truck. It's just a souped up F-150, and they can ride through like the dunes in Portland, except for they live in upstate New York, and there's no, like, they're constantly looking for something to drive their truck on to sort of justify why it has this type of suspension. So,
yeah. My dad was a big bow hunter, and we took a lot of the kids in the neighborhood up there with, and all their dads had trucks that would, suffice for going into the bush or whatever to like track a deer. They never actually used them for that purpose.
Because they don't want to scratch them. They don't want to get them scratched. Right. So, but anyways, so a lot of those trucks, like, they stopped in the middle of the old, it's now the Mario Cuomo Bridge, the old Tappan Zee Bridge. They stopped in the middle of a major highway, essentially, and to block off traffic. I mean, it's one thing I can imagine if you're doing a protest. It's another just simply as a way of trying to get people to vote for your candidate. I don't think that's going to...
Or to not vote.
Or to not vote. But I mean, stopping in the middle of the Tappan Zee, I'm sorry, in a million years, you cannot convince me that was a helpful thing for them, right? Like, how do they stopping people from voting when you stop in the middle of the Tappan Zee Bridge? Like, there's no... It doesn't make any sense.
Maybe the polling location was right on the other side.
I can assure you, there is no polling location on either side.
Palisades Mall.
Exactly. Nobody's voting. There's two different states, so completely useless, completely useless gesture. But there's been reports of intimidation, of people going around trying to scare. Certainly, you've seen the clips, I imagine, at this point, of in Texas, one of these trucks literally sort of sideswiping a car that was traveling with one of the Biden campaign buses. It's nuts. It's nuts. They're doing this stuff on the highway. But
I think it's pretty cool.
It is the here is Kayleigh McEnany saying that, in fact, it's the left that is going to do this. And listen to this. She's on. This is they have to turn their actions into a mechanism for aggrievement. That is always the way. Here she is on Fox and Friends doing that.
You're expecting balloon drops and confetti and things like that. Instead, there are businesses all across America that are boarding up because they're afraid there could be, if one candidate wins a certain way, suddenly people are going to be so hacked off they're going to go and knock out the windows at the Gap or something like that. They are increasing security in Portland and Philadelphia, Lansing, Michigan, Baltimore, Charlottesville, Detroit, Janesville, Wisconsin, Chicago, New York City, and Washington, D.C. What does that say to you about the state of America in 2020, that if a certain candidate is elected or reelected, people are going to, rather than vote to impact change, they're going to try to break a window?
Yeah, that's right, Steve. Notice what those cities have in common. They are all Democrat cities. What are they saying with these boarding up and the civil unrest that they're expecting? They're saying if you don't choose the left's chosen candidate, we will send the left out to attack you. That's as close to extortion as you can get. And Joe Biden has the power to say, stand down to the mob. Will he do it? This is all the proof you need that the left should not be given federal power. We deserve the great American tradition of democracy, of peaceful elections, of accepting the vote of the American people. But the boarded up windows, the closed down stores tell you all you need to know about the modern American left. The violence is unacceptable, and they are not deserving of federal power.
So there you have it. Somehow the fact that, can you just imagine if for a moment, we play this game all the time, but Barack Obama is the president, or Joe Biden's the president, or I don't know, Amy Klobuchar is the president. They would be on TV going like, this is what our society has become because of this president. It's as if Donald Trump has not been president. He's not part of any of this, this type of, that has brought about this type of concern around an election. As if his refusal for saying that he would accept the election results has in no way contributed to this. It's pretty stunning. And in some way, it's also a way of deflecting from what their voters are doing now and the voter intimidation that they're going to practice. And, people forget this, but for almost 40 years, the Republican Party has been under a consent decree from the Justice Department to not harass people at polling places. In the 80s, the early 80s, they had the Republican Party was engaging in voter harassment and intimidation in Philadelphia. I think it was Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania. And via consent decree, they agreed not to deploy poll watchers. This is going to be the first year that they're going to be able to do that. Consent decree has sunsetted. And so I think this is a way of basically setting the narrative and confusing the narrative. That's what they do on Fox. And I think we're going to see, to the extent that we see any type of like violence or intimidation, I think we're going to see it as people are trying to vote. Who knows about what happens after as they're attempting to count the vote. But to the extent that we're going to get a Brooks Brothers riot of 2020, I think it's going to be a lot less Brooks Brothery. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Well, they have already caught a few far-right groups trying to intimidate people in various locations, which is, not surprising.
I would also say this isn't the last we're going to hear of fascist truck violence. The no DAPL protests, I think the North Dakota legislature was the first to introduce a bill that limited liability for killing protesters with a vehicle. I think they buy these things because they're weapons. Like, these are just giant guns for the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're laying the legal framework to use these as weapons all over the place against anyone who opposes this administration. I do kind of like the idea, though, of turning the election into like a demolition derby, where like whoever has the biggest carzilla to run the other guy off the road wins.
You just get these huge trucks, but they're so expensive.
Yeah, well, money is political speech in a variety of ways. And if you want to win the election, you just got to work a little harder and buy a bigger truck.
Here are some of those trucks that we talked about. Does this have the clip of the truck pushing the car out of the from behind? I don't know if you guys have seen that clip. here is a video of those MAGA trucks, but there is one out there. You can find it, Brendan, maybe while we're playing this. There is a video of a F-150, I think it is, following the bus, and there's another car alongside it that apparently was a local Democratic official with her kids, and you can see the pickup truck literally ram the car. It's nuts. But here is a clip of the video of that happening from a different angle.
3, 2, 1, go!
There it is. There's the bus, and you can see all the Trump trucks behind it, with the flags, and they're really excited about this. It is maybe the single most ineffective campaign technique I've ever heard of, frankly.
Well, I don't think they think they're going to win that way. They're just bullying the other side.
I understand, but there's going to be backlash to this, I think.
Is this the one you're talking about, Sam?
Trump's people like him because he's a bully, and he bullies the people they hate, which includes liberals.
Watch this.
Running them out of Texas.
Okay, you see that white car right behind the van? And
I'm about to run out of gas, which I'm sure some of you would love.
Look at that.
Shit, look at that.
You see that?
Jeez, right there. Jeez.
Yeah, isn't
right there. Right there, look at
that. Look at that.
Shit,
look at that.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Aside from the damage, that's lucky that's all.
Yeah. That could have been like a pop tire and a spin out. Yeah, that's where, when cop cars spin out, like people they're pursuing, that's where they hit.
Yeah, that's
to fishtail them.
Yes, exactly. That's incredibly and then with all the other cars around there, that's just shockingly that's insane. That person
should be charged.
That person should be. There's no doubt in my mind that person should be arrested, right? That truck is specifically trying to knock that car out of there, and it's nuts. Well, here's the thing: is that I agree with you. Certainly the majority of Trump voters are going to love that. And I would say even I don't know, it's all speculation, but there is a portion of Trump voters who constantly need a license to be renewed, that they're not bad people and that they're not part of they're not like them. It's really more about policy for me. I don't like Donald Trump, and I don't, sometimes I think they seem a little bit racist, but not that much, and misogynistic, but not that much. A clip like that, I'm sorry, it's it's going to impact more than zero voters.
Yeah, that's for the primary, not the general, guys. Come on.
Guys, no, that is the women in the suburbs who who Donald Trump has been bleeding. They're going to look at that, and I think my understanding is there were kids in that car. The idea that is they're redefining Trump voters out, right? They're making their coalition smaller because they're basically saying you got to be on board with this. That's nuts. And it's also, so inconsequential. You're risking people's lives to show that we've got, we're going to surround this random Biden bus in Texas.
I think in a lot of ways, too, these people feel like they, the ways in which, they're shutting down these roads. If someone on the left were to shut down these roads, the cops would be there in riot gear and busing them off and everything. They know who's on their side, and they're even...
Oh, you got cut off, Brendan.
They're even doing this with their license plates now, where they cover it with, painter's tape and make a thin blue line.
Oh, my God. Yeah, well, you know what? it's not like Trump condones this in any way, so maybe we shouldn't blame him.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well,
oh wait, actually, he retweeted this video.
Not only did Trump okay it, but Marco Rubio in a rally in Florida was bragging about it. I mean, there should be, here he is. Here's Marco Rubio. This guy, the next time he goes on television, whether it's, Meet the Press or whatever it is, he should have to denounce what he said. I mean, this is nuts.
Listen, I saw yesterday a video of these people in Texas. Did you see it? All the cars on the road with the... We love what they did, but here's the thing they don't know. We do that in Florida every day. I love seeing the boat parades. You've seen the boat parades?
Look at it.
We thank all the great
It's car
patriots for those
fascism.
boat parades on behalf of the president.
Little puppy.
But we want them to know we've been doing that for 4 years.
Oh, good little Marco. Oh, yes. Good little Marco with the tiny Pepe. What a nice little boy.
I mean, this is mainly like, those big investments you make, like boats and cars. What if you could use those to do violence against the left? Wouldn't you get excited about that?
That would be great. Little Marco, little Marco. I think his testicles just got a little bit bigger now, because we all know what a small penis he has. Wasn't that that was the big debate? God.
Yeah.
Oh, Lil Marco.
Hey,